Friends, I had promised you a video that was 1 to 2 hours long that really went over the future of B2B outbound. And in this video, you're going to learn not just the strategy, which everyone posts about all the time, but I'm actually going to run through how you can use AI to score leads, how you can use AI to do research, how you can use AI to do writing snippets. I can't write a full email yet, how you can get insights with AI and data, a value-based approach, and how you can deliver good marketing insights at scale to a company. So we're going to walk through this whole process. We're going to do this from my company, which is just finished an API to basically identify who uses your competitors by department. We will soon be able to identify the people that are responsible for using those technologies. So I have a product to sell, and this is the system and process I'm going to use to sell it with cold outbound email. And this should give you a really good sense of both the theory that is really important in this new world, as well as how to actually execute that theory, which is really, really the hard part. And you're gonna see how I do that here, how I use multiple paragraph long prompts, how I use some of the modern tools that exist in B2B, including my jobs intelligence tool, how I will think about the structure of the campaign. So let's start with the theory. So we know what we're selling now. Now we have to identify how can we programmatically deliver value at scale. And the way I like to think about this, at least for my product, because it's a data product, how can I show, not tell? Now, the AI models, the absolute best thing that they are for is understanding. It's not actually writing. It's about understanding and making judgments based on that understanding. And that's essentially what an SDR does, right? They take data and they understand it, and then they write the message. Now, you can write the message, but it's the understanding part that is really the key here. So in this video, you're going to watch me do the entire process. I'm going to get caught up on some things. You're going to watch me solve those things. We're going to get probably close to a fully shipped outbound email campaign. I'm not actually going to deploy it. We always have a human in the loop that validates everything before it gets sent out. I have a team member that's just amazing at this. So we don't let AI, AI does sometimes hallucinate, but we don't let anything go out the door as me unless it's been vetted by a human at the very, very end. So, so this is that process. This should give you a really good idea about where AI is going. Now, you should know that OpenAI has drastically decreased their prices over basically since the launch of GPT 3.5. So the price is always going down and the quality is going up. And for many things, GPT 3.5 is good enough. It can do a lot of things that you need it to do. So let's dive in. All right, make me small. Okay, again, quick overview. We're going to do a lot of these types of things. AI research, AI scoring of leads. We're gonna do some adversarial buyer personas, writing snippets, figure out insights here, value-based approach, adaptive email systems, and good marketing insights. So the first place that we always have to start with is a list. Now, in this case, I'm going after B2B SaaS companies. Now, surprisingly, Harmonic is the only good source I've really found for a exhausted list of B2B SaaS companies, but there's a variety of other ways that we can do that. And today we're going to try two approaches here. We're going to use intent.blueprint.gtm and Ocean. So Ocean has a really nice AI feature that is this lookalike thing, but they also have an AI assistance. So basically you can use things to describe similar businesses and it will find them. So this is an embeddings model, and how it works, it basically takes all the company information of the description, the homepage, and then finds similar companies that talk. So we're going to start with two searches. We're going to start with this search, then we're going to pull over to Blueprint Intent, and we're going to find out who cares about competitors. So there's not too much like novel stuff here, except what Ocean is doing, and actually both of these are pretty novel approaches. So let's start with ChatGPT. And I'm gonna use this thing called Super Whisper. I plug them all the time because it's free. It uses OpenAI's Whisper Sync. It does everything locally on my computer, so I can just talk, and it's great. And the founder is a real nice guy too. So let's go back to ChatGPT. I'm looking to, oh, let's start. I'm looking to, I always want to make sure that great. I always want to make sure that things work before I speak a lot. I'm looking to create a embedding search for B2B SaaS companies. This search should be about a paragraph long, and it should include all of the types of keywords that a B2B SaaS company would use on their website, on their pricing page. So it should be broad enough to encompass a variety of B2B SaaS software like Salesforce, Slack, Apollo, ZoomInfo, but specific enough to make sure to exclude and not use keywords that B2C companies would use or non-software technology companies would use. Before we actually begin, I want you to write out your thinking steps about how you're going to approach this problem, and then and only then will I have you actually answer the question. So it's really important to ask GPT to do its thinking steps, and one of the things that that GPT-5 is going to do is it's going to do thousands of these types of iterations before it ever gives you the answer. And so this is funny. This is actually these thinking steps are embedded in my custom prompts. So it's using the thinking steps that I've given in the past here to identify how to do this. Now, all we're doing right now is defining a search term for this embeddings model. Now, we have an embedding search inside of Blueprint Jobs, and I should probably sign in here. I'm going to do my best not to reveal any super secrets about my sauce, but you may get to see some of it. Okay, now write a paragraph model. Yeah, these blue hats, this is funny. This is like, oh, this is pricing pages. Can you extend this line of thinking to keywords? So all we're doing is we're, again, slowing down the thinking so that we can get a really good AI search here. Yeah, and company description keywords. Now write the paragraph as if you were searching Google with an embeddings model. I only need the actual search. So now Ocean's lookalike companies will work here if I was targeting really specific. So like I want to know who are competitors to Gong essentially, or who's exactly similar to Gong. Now this is really going to be good if I'm trying to identify revenue analytics, like revenue analytics companies. I haven't heard of these because I guess Gong is so well known. But that's not going to be helpful if I want to target B2B SaaS companies. Now, there are other things that I could do here. I can go to companies and I can do industry and, you know, internet and software. And Ocean does have a SaaS tag here. I think it's a relatively small number of companies. I haven't looked at it, but really my goal in this video is to show you the like really interesting ways, Oracle, SAP, yeah. So these actually do look like SaaS companies, but my goal is to really show you kind of from a first principle standpoint how you would do this with modern AI tools. And then we're actually going to, I'm looking at my iPad here, we've got another Blueprint search that I'm going to show in a second. Oh yeah, this is actually pretty good. Don't include any words like exclude because this search is not that smart. I want to just use a combination of keywords that would exist on B2B SaaS homepages. So just give me that search query. So you can see kind of what it did here is it's the way that embedding search works is it measures the distance between words. So if you say a word like coffee, well, cafe is a close word. But if I say B2C, it's going to find other words like B2C or consumer. So this is API integration. Yeah, let's just see how this works. In this case, I might actually just use Ocean's SAS search because they've done the work for me. But let's see how well this thing does. Oh, actually, I don't want to. Oh, okay, those are SaaS companies. Well, that's interesting. So what Ocean did is actually Ocean used my description to find the most like companies and then did a lookalike to them. So we're going to actually pop over to Blueprint here. I'm going to show you a different way to do this. In this case, I probably would just use the embedding search is not. Oh, I guess I could have fine-tuned. I haven't used this type of embedding search. I almost always use the lookalike feature. But it's the embedding searches generally are going to be the way that we search in the future. This is how you'll find additional companies. You're not going to do headcount, et cetera, because if you imagine if you sell to someone like a Gong, if you find companies that are very, very similar to them, you can use Gong as a case study, and it's much more compelling because it's basically their direct competitors or people that are very, very similar to them. Okay. So let's actually pull over to Blueprint Intent now, and I have a search over here. Actually, let's go over to SAS. Oh, that's cool that they did. Almost all of these are B2B, which is good. All right, I'm gonna go sort of a more traditional search route here. Of course, I'm targeting mid-market companies. That's who I generally sell to. ZoomInfo. Yeah, these are good companies actually. PitchBook. I just connected with the VP of Sales over there. Brex. JustWorks. Okay, this is like actually kind of my ideal. Now, one of the things that I do is I always, to identify the sales, I really want to make sure they have enough people in the sales department. This is a good hack to essentially make sure they're B2B, right? You can see that we got a lot better fits here now that we are sort of looking at where there's more than 5 people in sales. Let's make sure they are located in the United States. Now this stuff kind of is going to look similar to you, but really a lot of the magic comes when we start to do some of the other stuff. So, but this building the list is ultra important. Yeah, these are perfect companies for us. All right, so we've got about 2,000 companies. Anything else that I want? We got the department size, employee size. This is good. Let's go to contacts. Now this LinkedIn description field is really interesting, right? This is going to target people by how they talk about themselves. But first, we've got a lot of people here. So first we want to look at title and seniority. Now most of the folks that I'm going after are growth. Let's just see what growth looks like. And I probably only want directors and above. Growth, sales, marketing, revenue. Oh, so I don't want people with, well, maybe I want people with product because they probably care about their competitors. So what I could do, and I'm not going to do this, but I can say who talks about data in their profile. Which of these 7,000 people, right? These are the folks that talk about data. Now, I like to look at people, LinkedIn. That's funny. Data driven, right? So these are people that talk about data. So this is going to be kind of my ideal. Yeah, diving deep into complex data sets, right? So you can see these are sort of my perfect list of people. So we're going to export this. Oh, I know those guys at Depalti. They're a nice, great company. Select all. So nothing about this is necessarily new, but again, being able to niche down is so important, because now I already have a message, right? I know they are at B2B SaaS companies, and I know they care about data. So I'm going to put that in my message. So as I start to build the list, the message is sort of formulating for me. Let's just keep this in the background here. Thanks, Ocean. The Ocean team is great. Now, there's another way that I can do this, which is to identify who cares about competitors. So blueprint intent here, this is my jobs product. It's very helpful to know who's thinking about competitors, because if we're targeting a tool, we're selling a tool right now that will talk about who your competitors are and who's using them. So all I did is I said in the last 90 days, who talks about competitors, competitor, rip and replace, right? People talk about rip and replace campaigns. I only care about sales, marketing, growth, revenue, and product people. So this is their job titles. These are keywords in the job descriptions. I just care about the United States. I actually don't care about the seniority of the roles. This week we're going to have departments, so I probably will filter by department. Now this company description is really interesting. I probably just care about software companies. So one of the things that I can do is I can download this is actually probably what we're going to do. We're going to download this list and upload it to ocean.io and then filter against SaaS companies. So I'm not even going to specify the industry here. I'm going to bounce this off of Ocean. I don't care. I do care about the United States. Okay, let's update this search. So, wow, a lot of companies are thinking about their competitors, right? No surprise. Now, this is, and coordinate competitive intelligence efforts, competitor gathering from competitor companies, competitor changes, monthly competitive reports, right? So you can imagine that this company is totally a company that I should go after, but I really just want to target SaaS companies. So one of the other hacks that I can do, we've got this list here, but let's open a new Ocean tab. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to search. So all we're going to do is actually, let's take this original search and we're going to modify it to get a list, download a list of SaaS companies, and then use that to filter against my database. So we don't care about people in this case. So we're going to uncheck all these filters. We're going to remove data because we don't want to filter by people. So let's go to companies. So United States, SaaS, employee size, this is great. So we're just going to export this list of companies. Now, you realize there's not a lot here, but I'm not trying to hit up the world. And this is something that a lot of companies do, is they'll just load people into sequences willy-nilly. And if you do this, I can't click today. Let's reload this. If you do this right, the purpose is not to hit the entire world. It's just to filter down the audience. And the more filtering you do, the better you're going to be at. Sheet's not new, good hack, it'll create a new sheet. So the more filtering you're going to do, the better you will be at messaging too, because you know these are B2B SaaS companies. And just looking, right, these are like good fits, right? Klaviyo, great company, Klaviyo. So I'm going to do some data cleaning here. We're going to use this really interesting hack. I have all these great, this is a regular expression that just cleans a domain. So I can actually just type in, so if, sometimes domains come in different formats and you need to clean them for different tools. And so all this thing does is it just will make it B1. So it just will clean it to the base domain, which is kind of nice. Let's refresh here. Maybe I didn't save CSV. Great, export started. So we're going to get to the cool stuff in a minute here, but again, I can't emphasize how important it is to use some of these modern filters, right? You can start to see like, actually these are B2B SaaS companies. Great. And the other thing that's going to be really helpful is that I'm not a technical person, but this will be super helpful for us to call some APIs in Clay. And you're not going to need to do a lot of that for the stuff that you're doing, but it is really important to be able to connect up to other databases because this is what will, great, they've got all the domains here. So Blueprint supports about 500 domains at a time. So I'm going to drop in, well, let's see. Maybe I'll be able to get away with more. Depends on. Come on, baby. Okay, great. So now we have just the people, right? Reich's great company too. Rollworks, you can kind of see Miro. These are all companies that are like B2B Go now. I've never heard of them, but so these are companies that are thinking, B2B SaaS companies that are thinking about competitive analysis, right? So it's on their mind here. So all I'm doing is making it easier and easier for me to figure out exactly the companies that are going to care the most about this. So let's go ahead and first import the ocean list. Now, generally, I would do a lot of this type of work in Clay, but for the purposes of, see, those are SaaS companies. I think I want this one here. So these are the people with data. Now, these are intent competitor companies. Blueprint's kind of nice because you see how it squished all those nice, it did comma separate and everything for me. So these are the companies that are thinking about competitors. Look at Rippling. Rippling is all about competitors. So you can see competitors, 198 times they've mentioned 144 jobs in the last 90 days. So these are companies, these should be the B2B SaaS companies that care the most about competitors. So we're going to upload this list. Now these are the data folks. Now what I'm going to do is, yeah, are these the data folks? Oh no, this was a different list. Let's go get the data list here. Boy, I really have some problems clicking today, don't I? Great. So this list is the people list. So let's import this. Now remember, these are the people that talk about data. So I'm going to message these people a little bit differently because they talk about data. Now I'm going to pull a different list here, which are just the companies that are thinking about competitive analysis, which these are still B2B SaaS companies, but they this is a bigger priority. So data, people, B2B SaaS. I always forget to limit people by country, but there's not too many. How many people? There's 2,000. Oh, most of these people are in the United States. Oh, maybe I did do that. Oh, that's the company country. Okay, so you can kind of see these are Miro, Cloudera. These mostly look like pretty Mongo. These are good companies. So now we know these are the 444 B2B SaaS companies that care about competitive analysis because they talk about that in their recent jobs. So this is doubly good for us because both they are hiring, and you can see most of these are software development companies, right? IT services, market research. But you can kind of see how if you just do B2B SaaS, software development is helpful, but there are a lot of other categories. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to copy this over, and we're going to go to Ocean.io, and we're going to remove the filter for, oh, this was the other one. So we're going to remove the filter for data here, and in this case, we're actually going to go get just the list of companies that care about competitive intelligence. So it's kind of nice. You go companies here, you can go show advanced, include a list of companies, paste this in and say, okay, great. So now you can see we've got a lot of people and a bunch of CrowdStrike, Mongo, so a variety of different people at these companies. So these are the folks that I want. I'm not going to limit to a one-to-one. Let's actually select all. Now remember, we still did sales team is greater than 5, so that's a good qualifier here. That's another way to make sure that we're B2B SaaS. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm having fun showing you, and we haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes yet, but we are going to do some really, really interesting AI stuff that I prepared for you. But this part is really important because you notice that what we're not doing is we're not just pulling industry and headcount. We really are trying to get down to the list of people that matter a lot. And now we have B2B data people and B2B focused on competitors. So this is really helpful. Let's see what's going on with Ocean. Did I do this right? I think I'm just impatient. I'm used to everything being instant. Poor software engineers aren't too happy with me. After this, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do some of the company intelligence here. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff we'll do at a company level, and I'm going to kind of show you some of the table stuff that we're building. So what we're going to do next is we're going to find the competitors. We're going to look at we're basically going to programmatically find the competitors of companies. We're going to get on some AI sourcing. Let's make sure we've got our checklist here. AI research. The adversarial buyer personas will be really interesting. I think you'll really appreciate that step. All right, let's label this. blueprintgtm.com. Outbound for competitor API. Outbound for our competitor API. And everything's at blueprintgtm.com if you want to read about the different tools that that I have here. You're welcome to do that. maybe I'm exporting too much. Maybe Ocean is upset with me. Okay, I think we actually have enough to go on here, and we're going to probably start with these domains because they care about their competitors right now. Active Campaign, oh, that's a good company. MongoDB, these all look really good. I've never heard of this company. What do they do? Oh, source to pay. Okay, yeah, that's a B2B company. Aha. Oh boy. Yeah, they got upset at me. I probably did too many filters. Well, we have enough to get going here. Let's just focus on the enriching these companies. So before we actually go and enrich people, we're going to enrich companies. And to do that, we're going to go over to Clay. Okay, this we did on the people level. So let's actually, I'm going to create a new Clay table. Let's import companies. And these are just the ones that care about competitors. They're B2B SaaS companies. So what Clay's going to help us do is really operationalize some of these, the different tools and technologies. BlueprintGTM.com. Always nice. I always plug myself in the spreadsheet names. Competitor scoring for companies. For thinking about, competitive. This is good enough. So good fits. We've got mostly software development. I always double check individual domains to make sure they look good. Here, yeah, Arma software, this is good. So what I always like to do first is, I got a sense of these companies. We know who's focused on their competitors. There's really kind of 3 or 4 enrichments in Clay that are really amazing. So I've actually done some of this already. So we're just going to transfer it over to a new table. Whoa, let's do this slowly. I scroll too much. See integrations. We actually care about their competitors. I built this really cool, this is probably it. I built this really cool AI integration that I want to show you that will find competitors. So this is Eric's hack here. So one of the single underused tool is Google search. And so inside of Clay, so let's actually go back to the inside of Clay, what you can do is you can just do a Google search, perform a search, and I can say company. So I'm just bringing in the company name. What do I call name? Domain. I always like to put in both. Sometimes the names and the domains don't always match. Competitors USA. I think that is this is the search that Eric Nowoslawski invented here, Competitors USA. It's a pretty simple search, right? Google has spent billions of dollars to be able, let's move my face here, has spent all this money to be able to, let's see, United States, to be able to search the web, and so we should leverage their hard work. These default, you don't really have to do this, but let's find competitors. So there is another way to do this, but it's really, I like to use Google first because it's better than a lot of the AI searching tools that exist today. That will change, of course. So this is just as if you typed it in your browser, but it's a variable here. So now I can actually click on the link to the Google search, and you can see if we look at Paychecks, Install, Deal, Workflow, Paycom, UK Pro, right? These are all Zoho people. So you can kind of see that all of the names are already here, right? Bamboo HR. Because Google knows to surface this, and this is called the SERP snippet. So the sponsored ones aren't there, but the SERP snippet shows you all of the alternatives. So the nice thing now is now you can use AI to make sense. So you've asked Google to narrow the world drastically for you, and now you can use AI to figure out exactly who these competitors are. So I need it in a specific format because I'm going to pass this to my own API. So I built this really cool thing, and I'm just going to copy this over, and then we're going to walk you through exactly what this AI search is doing. It's really important. Now, this workflow is super important because this is what an SDR does, or a great SDR does, but at scale. So the whole point is that as new companies or competitors, I build this once and I can repeat it over and over and over again if the experiment works. And you can see it doesn't actually take a lot of time to implement. So I'm going to use AI, and actually I think in this case we're not going to use Clay's key, we're going to use my API key. So you can see how, and I'm going to use GPT-4. Do not do creativity level like between 0 and 1. If you go 2, this is very creative. 2 is like insane. Don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Okay, so I'm looking for this company's competitor. So it's always really important to give the AI context here because it knows who the Mongo's competitors are, right? But it may not be updated. And so the point of the Google search is to give it some better information. So here are the Google searches for them. So this is a little bit of a pain in the butt because Clay hasn't made this easy for me. But you basically, and you want to keep the information that the model gets as small as possible, which is why the snippets are amazing. So if I go to search results, these are the top 4 results. So I actually just need to provide the snippet. So you see all Paychecks, Flex, Installed. So I'm actually going to provide it all of the 4 snippets from the Google search, which is the nice thing is that Google has made it as small as possible for us to get the competitors. So I don't have to go scrape anything else. I do have another trick here that I'll show you. And we're going to try to probably solve this in a couple of different ways. The way that I'm solving it today is enough. We don't actually need to do anything more, but I want to show you some other tips and tricks for you to be able to do this. Search results. So 1, I always get this wrong because it's 0, 1, 2. Now I've got a 3 snippet. And there is another way to do this, but this is the fastest way since there's only a few, right? Okay, so it's just going to insert those texts, as many in this exact format. So this is because I need to pass it to my API. And so the other thing I'm going to do here is I set the custom. So my API can only handle 255 characters for a API request. Now, one of the things that GPT-4 is actually very bad at is knowing ahead of time how many characters it can print. So you can't ask GPT-4, give me an answer with 355 characters. It won't know when it starts. So you have to be much more conservative here because it goes over sometimes. So you're an expert in APIs, right? This is really important because the syntax matters a lot. The API will fail if the syntax isn't perfect. And you know how important syntax is, and your max character counts 200, right? So this is impersonating a role here. And then I basically yell at it here, you need to be in this format. So we're actually going to save and do not run. So I'm just going to, because there's not too many here, but I do want to show you, Clay calculates the cost of OpenAI. So GPT-4, the most expensive model, which will only get cheaper over time. So we're going to tell you how expensive it is to, oh, they won't tell me this. That's interesting. Okay, so I think it's really important for you to know the cost here. So I'm gonna, on the API screen, I'm gonna look at this over here, and I want you to understand exactly what this just cost me to do. I'm just logging in here, and I think I should be able to see this API call. Today's the 4th. February 3rd. So I can't see this yet, but my guess is that yeah, my guess is that this is really, really cheap. Now, I'm going to show you one other way to do it, which is with the Clayagent. Now, the Clayagent basically does some of the searches, but the challenge with the models today is that they won't always, save and do not run. They won't always get things right, and so I like to pass in the smallest amount of actual context that's really important ahead of time. So I'm going to actually just paste this into the Clayagent so you can see what this thing cost. Now, this again is searching the web and looking at other ways. I'm looking for this company's competitors. And I can say this, the best, and I always like to tell it, now the Clayagent will go programmatically scrape, and I want you to perform a Google search that is company name. I always like to specify exactly what I have found it to work really well at. Company name, domain, competitors, USA. And only pull out the rich snippet text to constrain the cost. The snippets usually are enough. Okay. So I'm again going to use GPT-4, but for a lot of this stuff, you just don't have to do it. GPT 3.5 is like probably enough, and I'm going to say $1, which it won't be anywhere near that, but now, the Clayagent is basically just the breaking these two steps if you didn't break them apart. And there's no reason not to do this. This is going to ensure you're going to get better results, but let's see what the Clayagent comes back with. And I really do want to give you a sense of cost, because this is the cost is only coming down. It's not getting more expensive. See, like no competitor sound. That's funny. So this was 3 cents. And so, well, let's see. What did I do wrong here? Yeah, so the Clayagent is really helpful. I don't know why I didn't find any competitors. Let's try one more time. So to run this on all 443 is just to give you a sense of, whoa, that is not what I wanted to do. $13, right? Do you have a $13 budget to go after 444 people? So you can see, and let's actually see what this result comes back with. So great, same thing, right? Microsoft, SentinelOne. What is this company? CrowdStrike. So let's see if the other result comes back with. So you can see, I think this is actually SentinelOne, Trend Micro. So you can see this is probably better. Splunk, like Duo Security. So this did a good job, but basically this was 5 cents, and this was probably a lot less. So because remember, this is just all the tokens. The other one is actually searching the web and parsing more text. So in this case, the Clayagent didn't really help us, but you could sort of see that if this gets much, much cheaper, you won't even need to do this. Now, there are, so Clay will charge a credit to do the SERP results, and credits are anywhere from 3 cents to like 0.03, like 3/10 of a cent, depending on the plan you buy. So really inexpensive here in either case, right? So we're talking about maybe $50 for the whole table, right? And how much are you paying your SDRs an hour, right? And this is way more than they could do. Well, they could do it, but it's just more, it's cheaper. And it's cheaper than outsourced labor too, which is nice. And you can see that the consistency is good. So what we're gonna do here is we are probably going to, let's actually see. I think I have, we have set up a really inexpensive SERP provider. Let's see if we have I don't have a SERP provider saved yet. I'm going to pull this up to you because, again, I think it's one of the things that's really important is for you to understand how you can do this cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And so there is a SERP provider. Here it is. So the nice thing is that Clay is going to allow you to call API calls, and you don't have to be a wizard to be able to do this. So what we just did in Clay was we ran a SERP result. That's the search engine ranking I don't know what P stands for. But if you can see SERPer, let's look at pricing. So 50,000 searches for $50. What is that a search? 50,000. So wow, that's a tenth of a penny. So to run that for all 500 rows is 50 cents, right? So this enrichment here, if I were to use the SERPer dev, is 50 cents for all these, sorry, it was the wrong table, for all of the almost 500 companies. Now I'm okay just using my Clay credits here because I am a proud supporter of Clay and a advisor there. So let's actually run all of these as competitors. Then we're going to run, now this is structured to run automatically. Fortunately, the Clayagent is not structured to run automatically. LinkedIn, Career Builder, what company is this? Oh, Dice, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're finding all the careers. Now what we want to do is we're going to use Blueprints API. So we've got all this great structured data here, and you see it didn't take a lot of work to do. And we are going to enrich data. Actually, I think I already have this set up in another tab. This is the API. So what this is doing is Technographic's names included, headcount range, United States, limit 5. Let's see, save current config. February 4th, Blueprint Technographics. Find competitors. Okay, so let's actually just pull that into, okay, so we're gonna say I only want the top 5. Now these are the companies that use their competitors, right? So this is sort of programmatic competitive intelligence. Okay, so in this case, we found 21,000 people, 21,000 companies that use their competitors. Now this is OneVision and their founding date, and we have found 70 different technographics for them. They use PowerPoint, they use Microsoft Word, InDesign, they use a variety of cross-channel engagement, large formatting printing, interesting, fulfillment. Let's see if we can actually find the, The other thing to do is we can actually use a Clay formula to pull out just the companies that, actually, it's interesting, as of this week, we're going to start sorting companies by who uses the most of these, who uses the most Technographics. Now, for this use case, that's weird, right? Who's going to use the variety of the same competitor? They probably won't do that. But if you're looking at integrations, that's going to be good. Okay, so now we have companies, but I want to be able to send a second email. So the question now is like, okay, well, what kind of great second email can I send? Well, another good use for our API is, and actually you can see here, because remember, it doesn't know exactly how long Blueprint is erroring out because it can only take 255 characters. So I'm going to show you actually how to fix that. Now, a lot of this stuff is like super in the weeds, but this is what modern growth looks like. So you can see there's a lot of craziness. Well, I'm not a programmer. How am I going to know what to do there? So the nice thing is that you can use a formula generator here in Clay. Again, this is an AI use case here. I want to eliminate the last full string of anything over 255 characters in this string. Please make sure the string remains valid. So you can just actually ask AI to help with this work. So basically all it's doing is taking the text and formatting it, and this doesn't cost me anything to do, in such a way that we only have, let's actually see, we only have 255 characters. So let's go ahead and change this to the formula instead of the direct AI response. Let's just make sure that that works. Ooh. Oh, that's interesting. It could be that yes, you see how the format's still wrong here? So I'm not going to go ahead and fix this now because it's not really going to tell you anything. But you can see how you can kind of just ask the AI. Actually, let's just go ahead and do this. That way you understand the thinking process. So it is really important, and this is the thing that people get wrong about prompts. You do want them to be ultra specific. Use AI. This means that you must end. And actually, let's see if it will let me copy. Oh, I wish it would let me copy. You must end with a complete item, like. So this is the way that AI is creeping into these processes. It's basically doing so slowly and in the sort of some of the research components. So let's see if this worked really well. Let's just save that, and this did work. Yeah. So you can kind of see, let's make sure that this is working. I think did I change it or no? I did, okay. So you can see how this worked for most of them. It did fix. So we've got really some successful APIs here. We have the total number of companies, and you can see a lot of different technographics, 97 technographics found for this company. Okay, so I've got email one. Email one is basically going to say now, hey, we've looked at, let's do some formatting here And this is really simple to do. Give me the first 3 names on this list. And remove the quotes from them. So it's always really helpful if you give AI examples, e.g. Microsoft, Apple, Larry becomes Microsoft, Apple, Larry. Oh, on this list, we should actually provide the list, shouldn't we? So these are the competitors. So all we want to do is generate a nice snippet here. Again, this is a nice way to use AI and snippets to personalize the message. I'm going to show you a little human personalization trick that I used recently on one of my campaigns that worked really well. Okay. Okay, now we have a snippet text. Amazon Web Services, IBM, Oracle. Well, what company is this? Oh, Cloudera. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, so let's now move on to integrations, right? Knowing who uses your integrations is going to be an example of this API doing a really good job of understanding who you want to go after based on who already uses a lot of your integrations. So let's use Google search again. So again, I like using Google search because I like using Google search because it allows the snippets to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and you don't have to domain. So I can do site, which is only going to search on the site integrations. So all this is going to do is it's going to limit Google to that website, and it's going to find the integrations page. So let's actually name these columns integrations. And let's do, this is API call. All right, let's just run one of these and show you exactly how this works. Now, this is one of the most powerful tools that you can use here, is just really letting Google do a lot of the hard work for you. So you can see I can actually just click so integrations. This is the exact, now Rippling has a recipes page. We're gonna do something pretty, and you can see it did a pretty good job finding the first integrations page. Let's see if marketplace. Oh, I actually want to click on the link. I wonder, okay. Yeah, okay. So these all look like good integrations pages. I'm going to use another AI trick here in just a second. I always validate these. I always check and validate to make sure that these searches are useful. Hiring partners, okay. I probably would want to, I'm going to change this search a little bit to make sure that we really do I'm going to do in URL, which basically says it has to be in the URL. Now, if I just did integrations, Google usually does a pretty good job. Like Rippling talks about the marketplaces, but I want to be a little bit more explicit in this particular search, because I only really care about it if they're their integrations. Now, again, this is where I could go use the Clagent, and probably actually it's going to be better at doing this because it's a very specific task, and you can use GPT 3.5 to do this, which will drastically reduce the cost. And again, this is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And this is where some of the AI research stuff is really, really helpful. Sorry, I got cheap and I bought a MacBook Air. So you're not experiencing the pro of the computer. If you like this video so much, send me a MacBook Pro. Oh boy, maybe Clay is having some challenges here today. It is a very nice loading URL though, isn't it? I think that might be actually hard to do physically. Okay, great. So this is loaded again, and let's see what the results are. Integrations, perfect. This is actually good. Let's see. Integrations.CrowdStrike. Okay, so we actually did find better integrations pages. Workday integrations. Okay, they don't have an integrations page. So you can see how the devil's really in the details. Oops. Let's look at Monday. Now, most of these are SaaS, Docs, partner. These are like partner integrations with MongoDB. Let's see. So this is where AI is going to get better and better because you can have it do these types of tasks. Wow, look at resources. Okay, so let's just see if we can solve this another way. I think that this is probably going to be the best way, but because remember, Google has put more research into their work than some of the AI companies have, even though there's been lots of money. Google has for sure put more money into Google search than... Wow, what's going on? Okay, let's use a Clayagent. I am looking to find this company's integrations page. I do not care about their help articles or partner integrations. I'm only looking for the URL of their exact integrations page. Usually this integrations page is .com/integrations or integrations.company, and it should, I only want a result if it is the integrations for this app or software. If you aren't 100% confident, do not return a URL for me. I only want the URL of their main integrations page. Make sure you're absolutely certain and return only the URL or none. So it's really important for to be specific here. And a lot of these long, so we're going to use GPT 3.5 so you can see sort of what this cost looks like, and we're going to use my own API key. And all we want to do is see if GPT 3.5 can do a really good job at this. And then you're going to kind of understand cost here. And we're just looking for certainty. So which is going to be more certain? Now, the other way that we could do this is pass the results into OpenAI and say which of these seems like the main integrations page as opposed to the Clayagent. Now, let's see, Rippling did have an integrations page. So this did a bad job. So let's tell you the cost here. So wow, 0.006, so cheap. Yeah, so this didn't really figure it out. That is probably, of course it didn't figure it out because I didn't pass the domain. So why would it know? All right, let's redo these guys and see if we can actually get the integrations. And this is still in service of the same competitors. Okay, that's good. Let's actually, so far we have the same. Now, I'll bet you Dice is going to return nothing. Now, what did we have? 002, so cheap. 002, a lot of these are really inexpensive, right? 009. So we're talking about maybe $4 for the entire list. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? This returned Docs, Atlas, Partners. So that was wrong. So these are actually better results than Google here. So I'm going to use this instead. And with GPT 3.5, it's only getting cheaper. Now, I can arbitrage this because now we talked about clay credits sometimes being 3 cents or 0.003. So even at super high volume, I probably still want to use GPT 3.5. And GPT 3.5 is going to get even cheaper, right? So this is still cheaper than the cheapest clay credit. And what does this look? Let's take the most expensive page. Let's say it's 0.003. Ooh, sorry, 0.003 times 500. So $1.50. Do you have a $1.50 budget? Security guard integrations. Okay. So we're going to run this for all these rows, and we're not going to use this integrations because we trust the Clayagent a little bit better. So we got email 1, which is the number of competitors here. This is going to be email 2 we're going to run here, which is, and 3.5 is so fast. Integrations, APIs, integrations. We also could have programmatically built a list by pulling the B2B SaaS and finding out who has integrations in the first place. Now, there's a hack here that I want you to know about that you can just do in URL integrations. So these are companies that have integrations, and generally they're going to be companies with larger web make, right? Expensify. These are huge companies. Frame. But you can only extract 300 results from Google. So this isn't a great way to build a list, but if you're just doing a test, you can do variations of this. You can do software, and you can do Clay to build this list here. So software integrations, that's going to return different results than B2B. And you can kind of see that, and you want to do something like this minus in URL blog, which is going to say no in URL support. So you don't want support or blog. You only want the main / integration. And the nice thing with Clay too is like you can say, is this the main integrations page? So you can use a regular expression to determine is integrations right after the company website or in a subdomain. Okay, let's get back to it. Looks like this is running for us now. We're going to use a really cool thing, which not many people use here, but it is a hack. Great, let's see how much this is. Ooh, that's a penny. I hope you're worth a penny here for me. Okay, so maybe I spent $4. So buy me a copy for. You're spending $4 of my dollars on you. Oh, I'm like a little impatient here, which is a little silly. Image. I'm going to do a crazy thing here. I'm going to use image recognition. And actually, before I do this, I want to remove all of the nones. So I'm going to filter integration page URL. Has a result. That's not going to work. Okay, let's actually sort by. Let's sort by integrations. Oh, it won't let me do that. That's interesting. Okay, we're just going to run this manually for now. So I'm in Enrich Data, and there's a couple things that I could do here. Now, I can use the Clay integration to scrape the page. I'm going to do something fancier, which is the image recognition feature. So I'm going to use my own API key and see what this, I have no idea what this cost. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the don't save. I'm going to copy all the logic I use to find competitors. I'm gonna put two things in my clipboard because I've got a little paste tool. Okay, enrich data. Enrich data. Why don't I have patience? All right. Enrich data. Okay, AI, image recognition. All right. We're going to paste this in. Oh, I can't. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to paste these two. Great. I'm looking for this company's integration partners. So I'm actually going to, now the website to screenshot actually is just the result that from the integration page. I do want the full page. Integrations. Integration 1, integration 2, integration X. Okay, so same concept, right? But we're doing integrations instead of as many integrations. Based on your understanding of the integration company size. So for example, I want to think about like HubSpot, for example, is going to be a more important integration than Copper because it is a bigger company. And I'm going to, and let's save and do not run. And so what actually is happening here is kind of wild. It's passing the CrowdStrike URL into a screen. It's going to grab a screenshot and then use image recognition from the screenshot because remember that the information could come in form of logos, right? And so you can see, like, let's actually look at Jenkins, right? So let's actually see how well, see, look at this. How, there's no way that Python, so this is a perfect example of a page that it would have got totally wrong. But with the image recognition, it did a great job. Microsoft, AWS, and you can see this is probably sorted by the thing that matters most here. So what a great job. Now, what did that cost me? I don't know why Clay doesn't tell me that. Let's see if I can see what today's cost has been. Okay, so today I have spent $6 on GPT-4, 13 cents on GPT-4 Turbo, and 9 cents on GPT-4 Turbo. So you can see that I'm really racking up the bills here. So let's go ahead and run this for this. Let's like, ooh, none. Oh, let's stop updates. I don't want to. I just want to run this on the folks that we found an integration for. So let's see how well it does. Now, again, this is where you want to try multiple different ways to solve this problem. Now, this image capture thing is like, I don't know, the best way that I found to do it. And you can see it's still returning the right result. So let's actually duplicate this table here. And let's not call it competitors. Let's call it integrations. And we're just going to, now this is just filtering. Now this is just filtering company size. I only want the United States, just return 5 companies. Save and do not run. Oh, why? Oh, Some inputs missing. Oh, nice. It's just so... Ah, great. That's so good. So it actually just didn't run for any of the nuns. The nuns, that's funny. All right, let's pull out some of these. Okay, so now we have a second email. So the first email is, now remember, let's like recap here. We have the companies, the B2B SaaS companies that are thinking about competitors. We found their competitors programmatically. We have run their competitors against my API to say who's using their competitors. So now, not only do we have some personalization that's unique, we can say like, hey, these are some of your competitors that we've run against. We said we got a second email, which is like, these are the integrations that seem most important to you. Here are 5 companies that use those integrations. And we've done all this programmatically. Now, the nice thing too is that we can take this to multiple people at the company. So we've got the company data, so let's like let these things run. Now we're gonna do some interesting personal stuff. So let's go home and let's create a new table. Let's create a new people table. People. Okay, we probably want the data people. Let's go back to our list here. These are the data folks. Okay, let's start with the data folks. Now we're going to use a little trick here. Now I hate token personalization, but like I just can't deny that it works, and it's really frustrating for me because I don't like it, but I've been using some of it recently, and we're gonna deploy some of that thinking here at the personal level. So these are B2B Blueprint GTM. B2B data people, B2B SaaS data growth people. Okay, so Ocean has a lot of really cool stuff here. We're going to use the regular AI integration here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a little cheat here. That's not, let's see, I'm trying to figure out where my little hack is. Bear with me a second. Oh, that was a cool idea. I should do a different video about that. This has to be it. Here it is. Okay. So, little fun hack I did here. Let's go back to our other play here. Now, let's enrich data, and we're going to use AI. And this is a really simple hack. So all we're doing is we're taking the person's location. Person's location? And there's like sometimes a couple of different locations. That I want to try all of the locations that we have for them. Okay. Or this zip code, or this zip code. Okay. Oh, wow. It found locality? Where's locality? That's interesting. I pasted it in and it said locality. Oh, I don't think that's real. Okay. So all this is saying is like, give me a history fact, a natural sentence about where they live, make it not obvious, never put your answers in quotes. It's a live sentence. You write it to a friend, a personal note, and also return totally blank if there are no specific cities or regions. And and then I also like to give it I like to tell it that it is a United States history expert, because most of these people are in the US. Now, I don't want to use Clay credit. This for sure, GPT-4 is the way to go. Creativity level, you want 1 here. All right. Let's just run a couple of these. And now this is at the person level, right? So I don't know if you're a history buff, but the fortune cookie was actually invented in San Francisco, California, not China. So these are all the cities that people live in. But the famous Summer of Love in San Francisco began as 20,000 hippies gathered in for a human being. I didn't know that. But Brooklyn was once its own separate city before merging with New York in 1898. So you can see fun facts here. This is token personalization. I don't like it at all. But you can see how it's not the whole email. It just adds a little bit of something extra, a little bit something personal that is relative to the person. It's where they live. It shows differentiation, right? It's not the same shit that everyone's sending. And it's also not a template for everyone. Now you could cheat and do this by all the cities, of course. And I'm sure that once I publish this, whatever freaks that have got to this part in the video here will copy this and go for it. But let's now do a more specific hack here. So let's go ahead and enrich data, and I'm going to use the LinkedIn integration here, and I'm just going to enrich a LinkedIn profile. And I don't want to run. And let's just run 3 people and see if we can get their full LinkedIn profile. Now I'm going to run an AI integration here. This is a brand new thing I'm testing. So I haven't done this before, so you're going to, and you want to use the legacy, because the legacy one allows you to run multiple different messages here, which is really important. So let's do 4, and let's the system prompt. You are an expert in giving professional compliments to someone that will make them feel seen, heard, and appreciated, that are genuine, that are written as if they are to a friend, and that are well-researched and ultra specific. You never use cliches, and you absolutely hate generic banalities. You are as specific as David Foster Wallace. So I want to give it context here, and this type of context will allow it to more specifically write something good. So now, find something impressive, unique, or special about this person. This is their full LinkedIn profile. Now, what you might notice is the speed in which they got a promotion, some volunteering opportunity, something in their about section that sets them apart. I want to recognize them with absolutely the most specific compliment that only a person that spent a tremendous amount of time understanding them would write. Now, I sort of hate what I'm doing here because I'm taking what is genuine and scaling it. But we're just going to see how it goes. Okay, we're going to, again, let's pull in the, let's see if we can insert all of their items. Now, this is probably going to require GPT. Now what I want you to do is reduce this down to a single sentence. No quotes, no thinking steps, no nothing except the actual sentence. Okay, let's user, and let's actually add one more with an assistant. Your promotions, Apple. 3 promotions in 1 year are the fastest. How did you do it? Okay, so we're going to use GPT-4 here. There's enough here. Let save and do not run. This might be too big of a context when it's GPT-4. There's a lot of information on LinkedIn profile. Let's see how well this thing does. Okay, so this is actually pretty good here, but this is, but now we need to edit this down. You are Ernest Hemingway. You hate cliches and banalities. You are exceptional at writing a sentence that feels authentic and true. And you have the likes of David Ogilvy in mind and other famous United States writers. You write simply, but you write truthfully, and you believe in genuine compliments. Rewrite this sentence. Always start it off with the person's first name. So let's give this another shot. Yeah, this person did not work at Apple, did they? Did they work at Apple? You have to be careful with some of this stuff because yeah. So what's happening here is so we're actually going to delete the example, and then we're just going to move this up here. This generally doesn't work as well if you don't give it an example. Yeah, this was like over. Within the data-driven world. That's funny. Okay, so now the other thing I can do here is, because I know that these are data people, I can actually say something more interesting. So let's actually just make sure this was the data list. And I can ask them a data specific question. This is where just sort of basic keyword research is very helpful, because I now know this person said data, right? Yeah, okay. So we're gonna ask them a data question, and this feels more authentic to me. So you are an expert in, and then you can do industry here. So let's do, do they have industry? We must have industry. You're an expert marketer at, you know the data industry well, and you know how to ask specific questions. Okay. So this person cares deeply about data at company. What I want you to do is ask them about a very specific data source from your knowledge that would be ultra relevant to them in their position. Be as specific and succinct as possible, and say a little bit about that data source. So this is kind of a way to deliver sort of some insights at scale here. At company, I think that there's the company description, which is always really helpful. People don't use the company description, but it's really, really useful. Here is their company's description. And here is information about their current position. So again, well, all I'm doing is I want to narrow down what this thing is going to take in. So I'm going to, they have a summary about their summary. And current position. So the current position is really going to give us just the specific stuff we want to talk about. So anytime you can really narrow this down, yeah, this is the summary. Okay, let's actually replace this. And let's just do 3. So anytime you ask it a big question, it's going to do a not good job. Now this will change over time. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. So this is really good, right? You can see how it's asking super specific questions here. And let's actually make it a little shorter. So this is basically like having a conversation with ChatGPT. Make this question no more than 20 words, 10 to 20 words, and I want it to be as specific as possible. And don't suggest anything, just ask about a use of a specific technology or data source and see if they're using it. Now, this becomes, Now this becomes really hard because as you get further and further along here, you're going to have to talk with this person, right? Like, yeah. So this is really interesting. Okay. You probably also can, you can also make it start with given your focus on data. Make the sentence. This is another good way to reduce sentence start with given your focus on data. This is another way to sort of start with, this is like this, I don't know if you're a history buff, you can see how this is good, right? And this, you know, there's some quotes here that you might have to clean up, but it's a pretty good, given your focus on data, how are you integrating real time? This is great, right? Given your focus on data, are you leveraging for SEO and paid search strategies? Like, given your focus on data, how are you leveraging Google Analytics to track user engagement on Miro's platform? Like, and then you could also say like things like never mention basic tools and technologies, only cutting edge or interesting ideas. Then you can also put in title, that a title would care about at. Given this description. Did I actually put? I know I already placed this in, but okay, save and do not run. Oh, actually, I do want to say never include quotes or anything else that, yeah, never include quotes. So GPT-4 is going to get better and better at this. Let's actually see how this does. Wow, really good. See Supernatural. Have you considered predictive analytics for SEO strategies and target account planning, for optimized demand generation? Like, you can kind of see how this is the type of personalization that you can totally do at scale. Let's run a couple more of these because I think this is really fun. And given your focus on data, like, I don't know what this means. Oh, that's an interesting fact. So you can see now we're doing these types of personalizations with AI at scale that are interesting and unique. And also because we targeted with keywords, it allows me to focus the model and ask a very specific question. We do need to cover a couple more things. So we've got AI research now. We haven't done AI scoring of leads. So let's actually go ahead and do that. And we're going to use a regular AI integration to score leads. You are the Sherlock Holmes of lead scoring, and you know everything about ICP and persona for B2B SaaS companies. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to ask it to score these leads. I'm selling a service that will allow you to programmatically find competitors of yours based on keywords found inside of job descriptions. I want you to take into context this person's role, this person's company description, and everything about them, and score them on a scale of 1 to 10, how much they would care about their company's competitors. Scores like 1 will indicate that their competitors generally wouldn't be inside of job descriptions, they wouldn't care about them, or they aren't a software company. And a score like 10 would be they talk about competitive analysis, they're in a very competitive market, they are working at a B2B SaaS company where the competitors are very important to them. Now give me a score and comma separate the reasoning after that score. So you should have a score, a comma, and then your reason about why that score is right. This score should be between 1 and 10. Okay, so let's just, and actually here is information about the person and the company. All right. So what this, in Clay, when you see this little blue thing, it means that, wow, it's like a little bug, company. It means that it won't run unless that field is present. Company, person. So we want to actually go here and let's do person info. I also like to, you probably don't have to do this, but I always like to give the model as much information as possible and tell it the things like title, summary, position summary. What else do we want? Company description. Title, summary, position. This should be good enough. Some inputs missing, or why? Oh, 3.5 is fine. That's their title, that's their summary. None of those inputs are missing. What is missing there? Oh, person. Let's actually use person LinkedIn description. Let's change. Oh, great. Business planning and sales. Okay. So, so this is one example of how to do this. Now let's just enrich a couple more. And I probably would be a little bit more specific about how I want it to respond. Let's see if it will. This is like pretty cool. 8, a company focused on data insights. 120 billion of end-use analytics, AI, and machine learning, helping businesses, high likelihood sales director replacing competitive analysis. Furthermore, staying ahead of the competition. So great. So this is GPT 3.5. Now, if I wanted, I actually could say, let's like remove the company description, and let's also just see if I can, let's see if this will run GPT-4. Seven. So you see how the formatting is, while the person could be critical, the company description doesn't explicitly mention competitor analysis, mention keywords like analytics, AI, machine learning, such as service could be valuable as a B2B SaaS, and knowing that could be crucial. So you can kind of see that it may not directly involve the competitor analysis. So now I can start to structure this and run this type of scoring for more of these people at scale so that I can really hone down my ICP and persona. Okay, so we have done some AI scoring of leads, which we just did. We did AI research, which we just did. We haven't done, we did AI writing snippets, which is here. AI insights with data, which we did. Value-based approach. Now, I'm just going to give away this stuff. I'm actually going to not show you the copy here, but basically I'm just going to give away the data and say, here are some companies, here's the total number of companies, this is interesting to you. And the market insights is I'm actually going to tell people how many people use specific competitors of theirs. Maybe I'll actually break it down or say that's the ask and say, if you want me to break down each of these competitors, I can do it for you. AI writing snippets, AI adversarial buyer personas. Okay, let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, enrich data. Let's use AI again. Now this is the legacy one is what I really like here. So we're going to use 3 and a system. You are an expert buyer of data B2B solutions like Apollo and ZoomInfo, and you work at company whose description is, I like to describe the company. Okay. Your name is, let's just put in the person's name, and you are a title at company. Here is your summary. Actually gonna run an experience here. Summary of what you do. Okay, I'm gonna actually place this as another thing because as the context window gets longer, it has a harder and harder time here. So I now want to say, pretend you are, you have a few tasks. Pretend you are a value, one, are you the right person to buy a B2B data solution for your organization? Yes or no, only. If you are unsure, answer no. If you were to buy a B2B data solution that helps you find competitors, what top 3 issues would you care about? And then let's say, what are the key messages that you have never heard before about your competitors that you would find interesting? Okay, so let's GPT-4 is selected by default. Now remember, the prices are only free. It's not free. I have to pay. The continue to add fields do not run. Remember, the prices are going to go down and down and down on this stuff. And so this is really just for you to start exercising because, yes, okay, great. Data accuracy, timely updating data and in-depth competitors, custom profiling, innovative strategies, their approaches toward data security, and how they intend to incorporate emerging technologies. So that's really interesting. So I kind of ask a funny question here. Accuracy of data, comprehensive analysis, user friendliness. This is interesting because I actually asked the wrong question. What I should have asked was about who's using their competitors, but I said competitive analysis, right? So I can now actually string this into other things. So we're going to do a really interesting trick here, which yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the G2 integration. Get company data. Okay, so we're not going to run this, but we're going to now, I'm actually just going to go find the single biggest competitor of these companies. I'm going to do it manually. Now I could do it programmatically, but this is just for purposes. Let's see, oh, Miro biggest competitor. Okay, it looks like Lucid Chart is, so let's actually go Lucid Chart G2. Lucid Chart, let's just grab the URL here. Okay, we're going to enrich. We're just going to do lucidchart.com. No, I want, well, fine. Text. It's Clay bug. You do have to refresh here because Clay gets a little goofy sometimes. We need to turn that scroll feature off. New column, so let's just go to new. All right, let's actually label this Lucid. Okay, great. We're going to use AI again here. And we're going to use a simple one. You are a title at a company. and here is what you care about your competitors, right? We've actually done this with AI now, which is great. Content. Here is a summary of one of your top competitors. Lucid. Let's actually, we can just do this manually here. I've got like a little AI. Oh, maybe I didn't install it. Okay, good. Actually, no, we have it here. Write 3 sentences about novel insights you have that would be useful to this person, and start the sentence with I did a deep dive of G2 reviews for dive on G2 and found okay. Okay, I really want GPT-4 to run here. You are a competitive intelligence expert. Okay, so basically now, because I've asked AI to summarize and tell me about this person, and now I've taken other data from their competitor, and you may be interested in knowing that oh yeah, actually, so I can actually say something more specific. Summarize the top 3 insights from these reviews. Okay, so I can actually now programmatically send something useful to this person that AI has told me they would care the most about from their competitors. And I've taken competitor data. Strong satisfaction. Here are who they trusted by. Virtual whiteboarding. So you can kind of see how, now I would muck with the previews a little bit more. So you can see how I can take this data and understand my persona a little bit better. And I also could challenge it. I didn't do this in this video. This is a little too long. But I can take AI and start to challenge that insight, right? So we've got AI scoring of leads, AI research. We did a little bit of AI adversarial buyers and personas. Oh, and I should say that you can use any one of my custom, I've got 2 custom GPTs. I think maybe the Blueprint Intent does a little bit better job of, let's do mirror.com. It does a really good job of buyer persona. So you can, it'll go to mirror.com, it'll pull a buyer persona here, and then you can use that to paste in some mirror messages and create a fake buyer persona to basically fight with you. What about this message isn't useful? And it will challenge you. Now, Jordan GPT actually will do this for you and challenge messages and campaigns for you. So, firmographics, right? So you can kind of see this ICP and persona will be really, really helpful because you can just copy and paste it into back into ChatGPT and have it debate for you. Okay. Again, AI scoring leads, AI research, buyers personas. We did some writing snippets with the history buff and how they might use data. The value-based approach, I'm just going to actually be able to programmatically send them things like insights, competitors, etc. I've got some good market insights that we can do programmatically. Now, adaptive email systems, this is all based on systems that Instantly and Smart Lead are kind of the key leaders here. You can set up multiple domains. Apollo is now getting in this game. I don't think Outreach or SalesLoft does this yet, but this is the kind of programmatic stuff you can do at scale. This is how AI should be used. It's only getting better and better here. And you notice what I didn't do is I didn't actually say, write me a full sales email. I didn't do that at all. I used AI to understand things programmatically, to score stuff, to be able to structure information. I used it for image recognition, domain extraction, API calls, right? I built, and I'm just one person here with a couple of hours. I'm usually say that I'm in a basement here. But this is the stuff you can do now. You really just need an OpenAI API key. You need some software to pull leads. Clay's not great at this yet. Apollo or Ocean are both great options. And then you need to take things like their LinkedIn profile, company description. I didn't do this, but I could scrape the company website and score for things like B2B. And this is all about narrowing the world. And then when you narrow, because you have taken some first principle to make the world much smaller, your costs decrease dramatically. And also it means that you can say way, way, way better things to people. I hope that this has given you an insight into how the future of B2B outbound is going to be done, how sales teams that are very small, in this case it's just me here, are going to be able to deploy solutions that are way more efficient, way better than huge SDR teams that are unreliable, and the costs are only coming down. And notice that none of this is about personalization. It's about scoring, it's about insights. So I hope that this deep dive has been useful to you. I'm sorry that I spent so long doing it, but I thought this type of thinking and the approach that I'm taking actually will help you get a much, much better grip on what's possible, how you should be structuring your teams, how you should be structuring your research, what you should be doing with AI, and what the future of B2B looks like with a much smaller team. And I think Sam Altman said it recently that we're going to see one-person billion-dollar companies. And this is the type of approach that will get you there, and this is how you get there first. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Bye.